That gentleman was the nicest man you'd ever hope to find. He was willing. He let us borrow all the hotel's tools, crescent rings, whatever we needed. Okay, we tried putting the tow bar on there, and the tow bar didn't fit the brackets on that blazer. So we went in and told him what was going on. I asked if there was a welding shop around there close somewhere. He not only told us that yes there was, he left the desk. I guess he had a friend there or something he knew he could trust to leave the desk, but he left the desk, got in his car, and led us to that shop. He didn't have to do that. You know, and I thought to myself, we're over here, we're shooting at folks who are likely to be his neighbors from where he's from. You know? And it just made me think, why am I judging them? Why am I so judgmental of them when they're can be some of the nicest people you'll ever meet? Most helpful people you'll ever meet. So we need to treat everyone on an individual basis. You know, and even if they're not, we need to realize that they're people too. What do you girls think? You know, they can be very helpful. They can be just as nice as we can. And we need to treat them that way until they prove otherwise. You know, I was kind of raised with my dad. I think told me, he said, "Son, you're growing up. You're gonna meet women. You're gonna meet girls out there. Treat every woman like she's a lady until she proves otherwise. If she proves otherwise, turn around and walk away, leave her alone." And he was right on that too. You treat a girl with respect, and she's going to treat you with respect. Treat a young boy with respect, and he's going to treat you with respect. You know? That's how it is. That's how it should be. Don't judge anybody. Say, well, okay, she's, and don't go by what other people say about her. Okay, here's your friend saying, well, you don't want to associate with her because she's bad business. Okay, she might do things that might be kind of bad business, but the point of it is, has she hurt you? You might be the one that'll lead her out of that bad business. What do y'all think? Here's a young lady going to school, right? She can't afford to dress just right. She might stutter. She might have a little bit of a problem. Do you make fun of her? You know, or do you accept her and give her a chance? Try and be friends with her. What do? Well, the best thing is be friends with her. And then if you be friends with her, be nice to her, treat her the way you want to be treated, and you made a friend, and she turns out to be good as gold, or she goes the other direction, she turns out to be somebody that totally the opposite. That monkey's on her back, not yours, because you tried. Right? You know, if you tried and it doesn't work out, nobody's saying if you tried. And you miss a chance to be right, then that puts you in a bind with God, I would think. I'm no preacher. I mean, I'm not trying to be. I'm just trying to kind of fill in. But I don't know.
You don't know what that person's story is.
Exactly.
Take the time to find out.
Yeah.
It might be a story you can help with.
You know, we can't be judgmental. We not only shouldn't, we can't. there's a lot of times too that you might say, okay, this guy is whatever. I don't want to be friends with him because he's different. Okay. I have a very good friend of mine. He was best man at Alice's in my wedding, for instance. He wasn't born here in the United States. His parents were missionaries in Africa. He was born in Africa. You know, he's a very fine man. His mother speaks with a very heavy British accent. She was from England. They're living here in Oklahoma. His mother and stepdad living here in Oklahoma. He grew up around Granite, Oklahoma. He had, I guess, according to him, he had that British accent for years. And finally, he got away from that. He talks Okie now. But he's not an American citizen. He has his own personal reasons for not becoming one. And I can respect that. His point of view on that is all of his wife's family are looked down on him because he's not. They want him to be, if he was an American citizen, they wouldn't have a thing in the world bad to say about him. They don't understand why he's not. And then part of his is rebellious. He says, I'm not going to do it just to please them. You see his point. But all I know is he's close to him as a brother. And Zach coming in, I think, or it's either Zach or Corey.
It's Zach.
Is Zach?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how that little trip went. I had some people from different cultures that were very helpful to me and did me very right. And had I been judgmental and not wanting anything to do with them, chances are I'd have been out a set of clothes and everything else, and I probably wouldn't be back yet. And my dear wife over there would have been told to frantic. I was about to climb the wall, wanting to get back, not making it. Hey Zach, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
All right, grab you up a chair. Kelly's not here today. He's not
Yeah,
going
sick.
to. Pardon?
I said, yeah, I told her he's sick.
Yeah.
I see
that
clip.
He asked me to preach today. I'm new at the game. I don't know anything at all about what I'm doing. I said I was going to open my mouth and let God talk. I don't know how good a job I'm doing at that. But anyway, we're here and we're worshiping the Lord.
Where can you get one of those? In OKC? Do we have one in like anywhere besides OKC?
We were going through 7th chapter of Matthew about judge not that you be not judged.
You know, funny thing, I heard that the same quote 2 days ago.
Oh yeah?
So I knew something was going to tell me about that, and I heard it 2 days ago. That's funny.
Works out that way sometimes, you know. Basically, it's treat other people like you want them to treat you. I told a little old story. I've been gone all week running a pilot car load. And to make the long story short, I left my bags at one of the motels up in Ohio. And Pennsylvania loaded them up. When I got back into Ohio, Port Ohio, I got a phone call from the motel that they had found them in my room. And I went back, and a little Vietnamese lady was housekeeper. She had found them, took them down the front desk. They had them there for me. Everything intact. There was not a thing missing out of them. And all of that. And it made me think that, we used to be enemies with other people. 30 years ago, 30, 40 years ago, we were shooting at them. And they were shooting back. And back then, I literally hated to be with these people. primarily because I lost 2 cousins in Vietnam, and meant the world to me. And I wanted to go over there and return the favor. You know? Well, now they're over here, they're at peace with us and all of that. And this was a Vietnamese lady who helped me with my bags, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh. You know, this is just wrong, the way I felt about them and all of that, and they just turned around and did this. Well, I was broke down, and had to be pulled in on a tow bar from Sullivan, Missouri. Tow bar didn't fit that blazer I was driving. The manager of the motel where we were at left his post to lead us to a shop that could fix that tow bar where it would fit that vehicle. And this man was probably from either India or Pakistan. He was olive skinned, dark hair, talked with the accent. He had a little red dot up there in his forehead. Indian. And India ain't very far from Afghanistan. One little bitty country between them, that's Pakistan, you know, I mean, that's it. And, you know, we're shooting at them people. And a lot of them are messing with us, and a lot of them might be deserving of it, but you know, that's neither here nor there. The point of it is nothing they don't know. So we need to judge people on an individual basis, or don't judge them at all. You know, give them a chance. And if they mess that chance up, then it's on them. Don't give them a chance, and it's on you. You know, that's kind of where that is watch what you do, watch where you go, and remember where you've been. Best way I know to put Charlie down, that's a quote from Charlie Daniels. You know? He did a song called Simple, man. That's about the size of it. Watch where you go and remember where you've been. That's the way I see it on Simple, man. That's the ground we were covering. I don't know where else to go with it. I know I'm early.
And that takes me back.
I'm kind of short, sweet, and to the point, I guess you could say. When I run out of things to say, I run out of things to say.
Whenever I was younger, my mom says, well, if you ain't got anything nice to say about someone, then don't say it at all.
There you go.
Well,
There you go. If you can't say something nice, don't say
what
anything.
you're looking in at might not be the whole story.
Don't
Yeah.
judge a book by its
No.
cover.
And take the time to get to know that person's story.
Yeah, what
And
we
then
see.
what you find out. That
Well-
person may be a whole completely different person and well worth getting to know.
Yeah. What we see may not be all there is. You know, there's sometimes you can't see the forest for the trees. And you go out here, go to Yosemite Park sometime, right? They got those big old trees that are 15 feet diameter, stretch half a mile up in the air. The big sequoias and redwoods and all that. Okay, you stand right there next to one of the things you can't see around it. You darn sure can't see through it. You don't know what's on the other side of it. Probably more just like it, but you never know. You know?
Can't even hug it.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're into hugging trees, you know.
Tree hugger.
If you're a tree hugger, maybe there's something wrong with you, but you know. That's
It would work as a good back scratcher, though.
You know that. But, you know, okay. So you walk back off from it and look at that tree, and you look at all the other trees around you and say, wow, I'm in a whole big middle of a forest here. You know? There you go. Or, you know, people think of, say, the Rocky Mountains, right? Okay, here's the Rocky Mountains. Rocky Mountains stretch all the way from the Mexican border all the way up through on up into Canada. You got the Canadian Rockies, you got Rocky Mountains here. You get on down in, you got Sierra Madres, and that's part of the rock. That's where the Rockies and the Sierra come together down into Mexico. Okay. But do you realize that out of all that Rocky Mountains, there's several mountain ranges that comprise the Rockies? You've got the San Juans, the Mogollons, the Bighorns, the Sawtooth, and several more that I haven't named, Sangre de Cristo. They're all there, strung off up through there, but every one of those, it's a separate little area that they call a mountain range, but it's all part of the Rockies. And it's just like that with people, you know. We have all of our Indian tribes. We have the blacks. We have the Middle Easterners. We have the Oriental. Mexicans.
Chinese.
And all of them, they're all different. Different cultures, but they're all still people.
Just different pigment and skin.
Yeah. Okay, their culture's different. I mean, you take some cultures, I think it's the Muslims in the Middle East, or maybe the Japanese, I don't know. But anyway, one of them, it is an insult to show the bottom of your foot to them. Chinese, okay. You, it's an insult to them. You don't show them the sole of your foot.
Don't sit like this.
Yeah. Okay, the Japanese, when you go to sit down to eat dinner, when you go in their house, you take your shoes off. You know, it's just all these different cultures do things all the different ways. Muslim won't shake hands with you with his right hand.
Because that's the one you wipe your butt with.
Exactly.
Dirty hand.
That's his dirty hand. He won't shake hands with you that way. And just different cultures have different rules, and if you're not familiar with them, you need to ask before you go insulting somebody unintentionally. You know, and don't judge them. Don't judge anybody different from you until you've seen that they're not worthy of your time. If they show you they're not worthy of your time, then that's on them. Give everybody a chance until they prove they don't deserve that chance.
Kind of like you're innocent until proven guilty.
Pardon?
It's kind of like you're innocent until proven guilty.
Are you supposed to be?
Not always.
Where's my sheriff?
Well, there's even differences there. Military law, you're guilty until you prove yourself you didn't do it. You're guilty until proven innocent. It's just like down in Louisiana. Their laws are different than ours. It's not innocent until proven guilty. They go by Napoleonic law, and their Napoleonic law is you're guilty until you prove you didn't do it. I can't think who the guy's name, they called him Cadillac Jack. He was, they made a movie out of his story. Clint Black played him. He got pulled over in Louisiana on his way to a rodeo. They accused, I don't remember what all I think they accused him of being a dope dealer or something like that. Anyway, they accused him of being involved in this big, huge crime. And he didn't have anything to do with it.
What's the movie called?
Can't think what the name of the movie, but
Does
it
it
had
sound
Clint
familiar?
Black and had at least his wife, Lisa Hartman Black.
I've heard of Cadillac Jack. I said I've heard of him.
I think it's Cadillac Jack. I mean, well, that was his character's name, and maybe the name of the movie. He did a lot of prison time down in Louisiana for something he didn't do. His wife tried everything under the sun to get him set free. I don't know if she ever got him set free before he served the sentence out. I don't know which.
Well, how far back did this go? How many years ago?
This was back in the 60s when they caught him.
Well, basically, back then, the women had no rights.
Yeah.
Until 1970 something.
Especially in Louisiana.
Yeah, because that was down south.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
back whenever slaves were still slaves.
No.
It wasn't?
1960s, no. 1860s, what you're thinking of.
They-
1960s, there was still a lot of,
1960s, there
a
weren't
lot
any
of
slaves.
racial
Yeah, that's what I mean.
stuff going on, though.
Well, come on in. Good morning. How are you this morning?
I mean, there's still some today, but not like there was
Right,
back then.
but not
Yeah.
like there was
Yeah.
then.
That's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
There was a lot of racial stuff.
Yeah, there was a
Yeah,
lot of stuff going on
back in the
then.
1960s, is when we were having all the civil rights movements and all of that. Martin
Was-
Luther King, Malcolm X, and all them were around.
Was Louisiana bad about the KKK?
Have you ever seen the movie
Pardon?
Mississippi Burning? They were really bad about it.
Oh, yeah.
Louisiana, weren't they really bad about the KKK or something
Mm-hmm.
back in that day?
Okay.
And, without going real deep into such as that, KKK is still around.
Really?
Sure is.
Yes.
White supremacy. How you doing? Has something to say?
I don't think the KKK is any different to ISIS.
Pardon?
I said I don't think the KKK is any different to ISIS.
No,
But we
it's
mis-
basically the same. No.
I think
I think
so.
we misunderstand them
Yeah.
too.
Similarities,
I
I
don't-
think so.
I think they have good intention. They want to do good, but they don't have the right concept.
KKK.
They want to keep the community clean. They want to keep.
Right,
They're afraid of being extinguished, just like we are.
right.
It's just the lack of God.
Back when the KKK started, when it first started, it was not the organization that it became later on. The KKK started off as a good organization to rebuild the South. It was started by Nathan Bedford Forrest and some the other Confederate generals and all that. It was started to help the black man, the good black man, and rebuild the South into a peaceful, prosperous economy.
And who changed it?
Ignorance.
The radicals,
Ignorant black people and ignorant white people together.
right, ignorant people of both races changed it.
They went to color instead of God and mind and being.
Yeah,
That's right.
They went
Exactly.
to color. And
That's
color
right.
don't mean anything, it's just a part of
Exactly.
the
It's
DNA.
just
Exactly right.
pigment in your skin.
It's part of the DNA, just like you
Yeah.
could say,
That's right.
I'm gonna discriminate against you because you have mustache or you have genitals.
Exactly.
right,
That's all a part of the DNA, we can't help that. So
Yeah,
they went to color
that's right.
because of ignorance, they didn't understand science and
Yes.
Bible.
yeah.
You're right.
Like me and you are the same,
You are right.
We are.
except I'm male and you're female. That's the only difference.
We're not exactly the same because God is a God of uniqueness and beauty.
Mhm.
If somebody told all of us to draw a picture, everybody's picture would be different.
Yeah,
Well, God made it that way. All roses are not the same. You got pink rose, peach rose, but they're in the genome.
Exactly.
We're in the human genome. It's like
Zach, it all goes back to the Tower of Babylon in the Old Testament, right? The Tower of Babylon was built, everyone back before the Tower of Babylon spoke the same language. They all looked the same as far as skin color and all that. I mean, individual differences, but, you know, basically everyone looked the same. They all spoke the same language. They decided they wanted to get to heaven without dying and without any of the necessary stuff to get to heaven. They wanted to build a tower to heaven so they could walk up the stairs and walk up the stairs and walk up the stairs and wind up in heaven with God. God says we can't do this. There is only one way to get to heaven.
That's through Jesus.
Back then, that was before Jesus Christ, so Mosaic law. The Ten Commandments. No one can follow the Ten Commandments to the letter. If you could still get to heaven. But no one can. Therefore, he brought Jesus Christ into the world as a way of paying for sin. That was later. But the Tower of Babylon was built because people were trying to get to heaven, and God stopped it. That's when God changed the looks of people, changed all the languages of people, so that they could never complete the Tower of Babylon, and they wouldn't be able to communicate with each other to build it. And that's when everything changed there, to all the different people, all the different races, all the different languages. Okay, the KKK kicked off right after the war between the states as a way of rebuilding the Southern economy and to help the disenfranchised black men. It was a good organization, but it had good ideals and and it was a good organization when it started out.
To that
But-
one person.
Ignorant white men got to saying, we don't want these Negroes to have to be equal to us. They have no business, they have no rights, they have all of this. They're not equal to us, they're not as good as us, we're better than they are. Okay, then you had fanatical black men over here who's saying the white man has lorded it over us for centuries and all of this, and we're not gonna have any more of it, so we're gonna rise up and we're gonna go against it, and we're gonna do a bunch of harm and kill a bunch of whites.
Basically, it came like a war between.
It became a war between the whites and the blacks, and it went on for almost 100 years.
And it's
It's
stupidity.
still going on.
It's exactly, it is still going on.
See, what I learned here last year is every race that you see, I mean, Mexican, white, black, Caucasian, I don't care what race, yellow, purple, we are all slaves at one time, because if you look back into
We're all
Roman
what?
times,
I miss, we all what?
we were all slaves back in the day. Like,
Yeah.
us white people were slaves to Romans.
If you go back far enough,
Yeah.
If you go back far enough, yeah.
you'll find slavery in every color.
In Egypt, we were slaves.
The
That's
English,
white people were
the English
slaves.
conquered the Irish and made slaves out of them.
Yep.
Yeah, but slavery used to be employment. It's not compared to the slavery that happened in America. That was a horror for white people and black people.
Well,
Slavery,
yeah.
it was, slavery back then was like saying employment. It was like raw employment.
Yeah.
It was what existed if you work for somebody rich, whatever, you own them. Or they could come and get you and make you, but there are biblical laws
Yeah.
that governed it, and they didn't go by the biblical law. Even America that
Oh,
said
yeah,
was
you're
a
right.
Christian, because they enslaved the white people first.
Yep.
Yes.
Then they went to the Chinese.
Mhm.
They went to the Indians, and then they went to the Africans.
Yeah.
And there was a system, according to what I've taught, in Charleston all the way here. In Charleston, it works. It was economic development.
Mhm.
And Pendleton Plantation had blacks and whites going to school together, learning to be pilots and nurses, and it was an exchange.
Mhm.
Well, when the voice passed through Africa, they thought when they were coming here, they were coming for an exchange of employment
Mhm.
or to live happily with the white family because they wanted to explore. But they were taking them through this tunnel, and then when they brought them, they didn't know where they were at all. And so they couldn't speak the language,
Mhm.
and so they were beat and forced to speak the language and raped and taught and worked for all these years, 300 years, and then let go without an inheritance.
Yeah.
But some of the masters understood the rule of employment, because slavery was to build this country. And they did build it. They did the electric wires, the
Sure.
refrigerator, the cots, and the rub board. So it was, but, not to take over what you're saying, but some ignorant white people
Yeah.
joined in with some crooked, ignorant black people, from what I understand.
Sure.
And they put cruelty to it and brutality. They were
Yes.
like animals.
Right.
They were
Yeah.
like wild animals. They didn't
Yes.
see you as human no more. They see you as a prey.
Yes.
And we can't repeat
Sure,
that.
That also reminds me of what Hitler did to all those Jews.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
That was harsh.
Same
Yep, that's
thing.
right.
Same spirit.
Same thing.
Same thing. Yes, I.
Slavery goes back to the beginning of time down in Egypt.
Oh, slavery goes way back before that even.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
American
which-
slavery was without rules. It was,
Yeah.
the rule that Jim Crow set up was horrible.
Oh yeah, Jim Crow
Jim Crow
ruled was
set it
terrible.
up where you should divide the family. See, that stuff comes back. That's why the next generation have to get away from that.
Exactly.
It brings curses to the land, not just the people, because they'll have money and can't enjoy it.
You're
I don't
right.
care if they're black or white, because Idi Amin was black, and he was a horror. It was jealous. He didn't have an education, didn't want one, and he hated the people who had an education, and he killed them. He's no different to the Ku Klux Klan, Idi Amin guy. That is the same spirit that entered these people, like the
Right.
pastor is saying.
I mean,
What's this?
Egypt, they beat their slaves just like we did in 1860. It was pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, the only, well, I'm not sure, but I know they were forced to do all kinds of stuff they didn't want to. But it was mainly the Jews. You going back.
Well, are we about ready for lunch? If we are, let's
Get a prayer.
let's have some prayer.
When the European invaded those places, they started those concepts.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for the chance to be here, have our discussion, exchange ideas, worship you. I thank you so much for leading me through this, because you know it was my first time out of the gate. I sure appreciate it. Lord, be with Kelly and his family as they battle that disease. Be with all of us who aren't here. Be with all of us who are. Guide us and keep us in your precious name. Be with those blessed food that we're fixing to have. The nourishment of our bodies. Bless those who prepared it, those who served it, those who brought it in, and those who grew it. All these things in Jesus' name we ask. Amen.
Amen.
Pastor, I'm sorry I got excited because you can't talk about slavery in this town.
How do
Pardon?
I?
okay.
You
How
can't
do I?
talk about slavery.
Oh, that's all right.
Oh, I have an announcement to make.
Okay, sure.
Hey, listen, Pastor, I just want y'all to
I
know
don't know how to
that
turn it
the
off.
idea of the, well, let me share it with you, everybody.
Okay.
The idea of having the
Hand
study room
foot,
Uh-huh.
building.
Great.
and, Jake started
Some of the
with it, too.
universities
It's
have
very
this thing
cool.
called D2L. You
Okay.
heard of D2L?